Welcome back. This is week 4. Yeah, let's get on. Okay, so this week you can see we continued the gain, so pretty good. Obviously, not as an extreme rate of here, but we still continued them. We had a green day, a green day, a green day, one red day, breaking the streak. We were 1 day away from breaking I think my all-time record was around 9 straight non-red days, I think, and we hit 8. And then we had another green day in the end just to finish it off. So here's the total money. Okay, so here we have the comparison. So we actually did start off better. Last week we did start off neutral quite a bit for 3 days. And then over here you can see we kind of plateaued, we kind of flattened a little bit, and then we kind of stayed in the same level. Now this level is still very high. We're talking about 10%. So so it's half of this one, but this one was an outlier, and this is still really high. Over here, so Nasdaq actually performed a little bit negative this week, even after all the news. So it's still, it's kind of slowing down, and we still continued above. So we have a huge gap of outperforming. Over here, this week we did 10.24%. Nasdaq did lose a little bit this week, and we outperformed 80% of days. Overall, we increased it by 8 percentage points, so 58% outperforming. That's very high. I think that's the highest I've seen it. And then here you can see we're more than 10% outperforming the NASDAQ, which is very high. Over here we have SPY. So SPY did lose a little bit more this week. It's negative 0.43, and we outperformed 3 out of the 5. Overall, we're at 47, so we're getting to the 50, which is good. And this, we're more than 13%. Basically, yeah, we're 13% outperforming SPY. So we have a very good margin. Dow Jones is one of the worst outperforming ones at the moment. As you can see, it did negative 0.15 and 60%. But it's only 2.65% up. This one should be the 17.5% from before. My bad. It should be this number, 18.75, and at the moment it's 265. So there you go. So basically 16% outperforming, and this increased by 3%, a little bit. So here's the comparison of all. You got Dow Jones, SPY, and Nasdaq. They all follow basically the same pattern. And then over here you see we increased by quite a bit, mostly on Monday, Tuesday. And then yeah, so pretty good. Yeah, we're just gonna keep it up here and slowly gain. So our average daily gain did increase again. So it's at 0.94 from 0.51 last week. So still very good. You can see it's kind of gone back to the original levels. Now these levels are very high. So it's like 10% a day. 2% still very high. 8%, 2%. And these are more normal levels over here. So here we have the 5 days. So Monday we did really good. Tuesday was great. Wednesday was pretty average, same as the rest. Wednesday we were a little bit negative, but then we came back on Friday. And Thursday we were a little bit negative, and then Friday we did come back, mostly recovering most of these losses. So green and neutral, they finally add up, are more than the red days. The green is getting close to overcoming the red, so hopefully next week. Profitable trades, it did increase, so we're at 80% right now. And then you can see here, so the average gain did decrease by a little. Now this is very high, so we're still at 4%. So it decreased by 1. And then over here, barely stayed the same, the losses. So here we have our standard deviation did decrease by a little bit. And then here we have SPY. So SPY's gains decrease, but then their losses did decrease by quite a bit. So there you go. Standard deviation for SPY did decrease, so it's okay. And then our ratios for wins and losses, we're still getting, our losses to our wins are still a lot better than SPY's in comparison, right? And then so here our losses could be negative 354, and they're currently negative 12 to have the same ratio. Or our gains could decrease by around 3%, and then we'd still have the same win to loss ratio. Now the volatility, which you can say our standard deviation, is 3 times higher than SPY at the moment. So that's quite high. Now the returns do justify it, so but yeah, it's still quite high. And then our difference did decrease by 1 point, but anything that's neutral or above than 1, or yeah, anything that's positive really, it's still very good. And then over here, trading transactions, so this did increase, kind of doubled Now, one transaction would be like one buy order, and then one would, so it's not really a trade per se, and more of a like the day trade. So this would be orders buy and sell in the same day, and this is now 0.16, so around 0.2. Very little, very little. And then here we have our overall portfolio. So we increased by another 10%. So at the moment, we're still doing very good. We have a good margin. So my goal for this quarter is going to be 25. So that would be almost double last quarter. And the first quarter was almost 9. So you can see around 3 times, more than 3 times more. Or no, more than 2 times more. Around 2.5, right? And then so yeah, we're this quarter has gone a lot better, and we did have a rough start, but I think we're chilling right now. And yeah, pretty good. Around 20. If I hit 25%, the idea is to lower the risk significantly. So mostly I'll probably just be holding SPY and some other things, just to keep it stable. And then the new quarter would start on May 30th. So we have around. So today's the 9th, right? So we have around 2 more weeks, I think. And then yeah, so we just gotta hold in for here 2 more weeks. I think the next week, this coming week, should be quite a eventful week. I think it's gonna be quite positive too. Maybe not 10, but maybe 5 or 6. And then I hope this ending week we end at 25, and then the last week we can just like, basically, if it's just 1 week, I might just not hold anything, and then we'll be fine. So yeah. All right, see you next week.